Hi everyone at Father's Rights and online. I'd just like to record this for a basically a bit of a documentary. So this is literally formal condemnation of the North Wales Police systemic incompetence, cover-ups and dereliction of duties. So I've just a couple of days ago received a response to some of the complaints I've been putting in against North Wales Police. So this has been an ongoing saga for the last 4 years. Basically, history is moved over to this location, split up with the ex. All was going okay for 8-9 months of nesting essentially with the children, and as usual, basically bias and the ability to sell your kids into the system to receive legal aid if you are a female has taken over. So I believe he is a temporary patrol inspector. Darren Groom is the guy that's actually just gone through this investigation. I'd like to highlight a few issues that we've got from this, and it goes on, and this isn't even touching the cream. This is literally just the chill off the top of the froth. But I've been looking at it, and it doesn't sit well with me, to be honest. So it's an absolute failure as far as I'm concerned. He's literally accepting the fact that his officers can't do their job, and instead of actually seeking punishment, seeking training, seeking anything else to actually get them to a standard, these are signed off investigators / police officers that are on the streets right now, and they have literally violated the law, breaching pace, and in his own words and admittance, basically don't have the ability to do their job, but yet is carrying on. So the introduction: North Wales Police officers have violated my statutory law, breach of pace codes, fabricated legal filings, and arrest innocent citizens based on coached and weaponised allegations. The official force response is not to discipline, suspend, or prosecution of these officers. It is a learning through reflection. That is a quote. So a police officer violates the law, arrests citizens, me. But I can't be the only person living around here that's going through this. And the only thing that they're told to do is learn through some reflection. Now, if I wanted to murder someone and then I go to the judge and go, look, I know I've done wrong, but I'm going to reflect on it. It's not exactly ideal. If I go and, I don't know, kidnap someone, steal a car, break the law in any way, I would never, ever, ever have such a system that's taxpayer funded. So these people are literally paid by us to go around and arrest just innocent people for not doing anything. And when you put in a complaint, like Sergeant Arwyn Jones from Blenheim Festiniog has literally emailed me to say that he will not investigate anything that I give to them or any crimes. Now, he is the sergeant for Blenheim Festiniog. So that means any time I try to put a report in, or any issues that I've had with the ex, for example, the theft, the bits, the allegations, basically it's getting gatekeepered. So the admissions, anyway. PC Plester, that's you, by the way, young lady. You have, by the admission of your own inspector, Groom, formally admits that PC Plester conducted a 40-minute covert telephone interrogation without cautioning the suspect, without advising him that the phone was being recorded, and ensuring the legal representation bordering a secret interrogation. The excuse: Groom dismisses the major breach of Pace Code C as a lack of experience. That's you, PC Plester. You have a lack of experience of being a police officer. Apparently, it wasn't intentional to completely ignore the fact that you were recording someone and then try to use that in court. That is just a lack of experience. Bless your heart. You are paid, again, to be an experienced police officer. I understand that you are a police officer, which would mean that you've gone through a certain amount of qualifications and training, and you should be hitting standard, but apparently your experience means you are incompetent and you can't be a police officer, but yet you are paid for it. So congratulations. So PC Plester and Sergeant Arwin Jones actively blocked disclosure prior to an interview, refusing to provide allegations and evidence beforehand. Every citizen, this is everyone as well, so take note of this, boys. Every citizen has a right under Pace Code C, paragraph 11.1a, to see evidence prior, this is prior and before an interview. Do not conduct any interviews by the police by letting them just sit you down and feed you into these things, because I can show now through my own evidence the police are acting criminally. They are a syndicate. They will do anything to get a charge on you. And I found that myself. So Sergeant Jones has actually bypassed CPS and just banged it straight in for a charge and told CPS I've already pleaded guilty. Anyway, that wastes days of my life, which fortunately I quite enjoy a little bit of court. So, you know, to the average person having to take days off work, I can imagine this would pee you off quite significantly. So, on the same report, Darren Groom, I reported my ex for stealing a laptop. She admitted she had the laptop. I have WhatsApp messages confirming she has the laptop, and she said that she would swap the laptop for either a significant amount of money or her other, her laptop, another business laptop that she was using for herself and doing other bits. She wanted to basically leave me and take some business assets with me. North Wales Police Supervisors, District Inspector 3128 another Jones, and Support Sergeant 3404 Aston officially entered notes on the command and control system acknowledging that the investigation into the stolen laptop, admitted by the ex-partner to be in possession for over 19 months, should have been progressed immediately rather than illegally shelving the counter-complaint. So I was told by North Wales Police that once there was a complaint against me, directly as a person, they were unable to follow up any counter-complaints. Quote unquote, this is Sergeant Sparrow, tit for tat. So if she makes a complaint against me, I can't actually give them evidence about stolen stuff because it's tit for tat. So basically, once they've got you in their sights, they don't want to hear anything bad against the other person. What they want is the thing just to keep going, and they will literally railroad you through the process. The reality, I was arrested. My home was illegally searched. I'm actually a registered journalist. They should have sought a warrant. They didn't. They were notified this. They didn't bother. Under Section 32 of PACE, my kids' tablets were removed, multiple telephones were removed, a couple of laptops were removed, and no receipt of anything that was actually taken was ever put back. It took nearly a year to get all my kit back, and every single thing, as documented on the police report, was working as it left and came back broken. Apparently, again, that's my problem I have to sort out. I've asked to report it. I've taken photos of thumbprints on every single item. And when I picked it up from Dolgellau Police Station, I actually said to the officer in charge there, I won't take these items. Please can you fingerprint why there's thumb marks where there's snap marks on every single one of my tablets. So again, you annoy the police, they will do anything to bring you back down to earth. So they don't stick within the law. You know, the law that's meant to be there to protect everyone, you know, to serve the people and do all that sort of stuff. So basically, I was arrested. They took all my phones. I was branded a criminal. While admitted that the laptop was theft from the ex-partner, it sits untouched for nearly 2 years. Eventually, they actually call her up and say, do you have it? She says no, and they shut the case. My ex actually filed an HR1. I'll refer to her as MC in this case. So this is a notice of home rights. So some of you might have had this as single fathers. It's basically, if you are married, they are claiming like that they want to basically seize your assets. So the home rights order is to make sure that when there is a breakup, that everything gets put through nicely together. If you look up the HR1, there's nearly a quarter of a page of declaration at the end of it that basically says, if you sign this declaration incorrectly, it is a criminal offence. Now, I would say MC basically filed this Under legal aid, her solicitors filed it for her. Legal aid has confirmed that they don't cover the filing of this. So her solicitors decided to file this on purpose, mid-court. Court had a file put in for financial abuse and allegations of that court. The judge, dishonourable, won't say her name because I'm not sure I'm allowed to actually. Anyway, she works at a local North Wales court in a very well-known place with a castle in the family court system. She's the one that keeps blocking other bits and pieces as well for me. But in the court submissions, obviously stealing a laptop is, along with other stuff, along with cash, along with other bits, and then making up loads of excuses, and then actually like utilising that laptop to gain access to other stuff, is a fairly serious offence. That's basically been shelved because she made allegations against me. This is the problem that has then looped into multiple more issues. So the stolen laptop led to me then getting further arrested because that laptop was used for other offences, and then obviously it comes back to me. So even though I claim it to be missing, the police don't do anything with it, therefore it's still my laptop apparently. DC Annie Britton listed herself as a suspect. So whilst I'm under arrest, she actually puts herself as a suspect, puts it into court. The courts sign it off prior to, and the courts sign it off, and it's not even authorised by her own inspector. I've also got, as I say, emails here where they've put me into bail. Annie Britton has listed herself as a suspect prior to her inspector actually signing off the allowance to put it back into court and putting the bail terms on a longer term. She's just made it up that she wants to do it. She's then done a form, doesn't even have my name anywhere near it, and then they've come to me and extended my bail. This is where it then gets even more confusing. Kevin Williams, another police officer from Blenheim Festiniog, decides that he's not going to post my bail terms at my house. When I'm checked into Carnarvon police station, they ask you where you live. I give them an address. That address was over in Suffolk. PC Kevin Williams decided to turn up at one of my holiday lets in Wales and posting bail terms through the front door. Absolute incompetence. So they've managed to extend my bail without my name even on it, prior to an inspector authorising it, and then posting the new bail terms in an address that is rented. You literally can't make up the incompetence of North Wales Police. I can't understand what is going on. They then get me into court. I have a letter 24 hours, if not a bit more, prior to my court hearing where the police drop the charges. However, they fail to notify me of that because they want to just stress me out a little bit more, and they're just trying to pull rank and actually act like absolute morons. So that forces me into essentially a 13-hour round journey to attend court because I have a summons to it, to answer a crime that doesn't exist. And this is all put down to the thing. Whilst in court, I ask the judge for a financial order. He tells me that he can't do a financial order because you're not even meant to be in court. So then I ask, why am I here? Is this not classified as entrapment? Then they notify me that the court doesn't investigate crimes, the police do. So I call the police, and then I try and report their own officers for entrapment and lying and fraud and everything else. And they basically notify me that they won't be investigating any allegations, as I've already told you. So basically, I do pay my taxes to North Wales Police, but basically my tax just goes to pay their wages, and they won't investigate any crime that I actually do. So what I do is I file a SAR, which if you guys ever get arrested and you want to gain evidence and learn what's going on, a SAR request is a subject access request. It means that you can go to a public body and you can say, can I have this information? For example, body cams, footage, emails, interrogation notes, like anything you want, you ask for. Be very specific or be very, very broad. However, North Wales Police, they claim that footage doesn't exist. So where Kevin Williams searched my house, which he shouldn't have done because he never had a warrant, I've done a SAR request asking for a copy of the warrant, and I want them to respond with, "We don't have the warrant." I want them to respond with his body cam to prove that he was searching my house and prove that my laptop, another one, was on the seat that he then unplugged and removed, which he left no receipt, and he also didn't book in half the stuff that he took, and actually some of the stuff that I even got back wasn't even on the checkout result. Anyway, Darren Groom explicitly quotes and relies on body-worn footage. The custody footage of the report proves the footage does exist, because he says, "I have viewed the footage." The SAR, the data inquiries people, again, more gatekeepers within the police, have told me that the footage doesn't exist. About 4 months ago, they said it doesn't exist. Other footage are required, they said has been misfiled, and that footage, again, has been actively looked at by Darren. So which one is it? Is Darren watching footage that doesn't exist, or are the data access request people, the data controllers, those that are legally meant to be giving me all the information that I request within 28 days, and we're now 7, 8, 9, 10 months into it, hasn't done it? Again, North Wales Police is breaking the law. Legislations, you name it, they will do it. They've demonstrated systemic dereliction of duty. Officers break the law, falsify bail terms, illegally record private phone calls, bungle basic investigations and duties, and when caught red-handed, their senior inspectors wrap up everything into cotton wool and instruct, and this is the funny one, they instruct reflection. So, as I said before, a police officer is breaking the law, and instead of actually going back to do anything that should be there or actually hold her accountable, they don't do it. Now, when you look at the own police reports themselves and look at what should happen, immediate suspension of arrest powers. If an officer doesn't know the difference between casual chat and uncautioned custodial interrogation over the phone, violating PACE Code C paragraph 11.1a, they should not be holding arrest powers. In a rigorous system, the officer is immediately removed from frontline duties, stripped of their warrant card and subjected to formal misconduct hearing for discreditable conduct and lack of fitness of duty, not quietly protected by a temporary inspector. Independent criminal investigation for misconduct in a public office. Secret recording of a citizen, that's me, trying to trick me into incriminating myself into statements without a caution, without holding mandatory pre-interview disclosure, and then feeding the tainted audio to prosecution. They actually gave it to CPS and it was played in court. By then just saying that she's inexperienced is misconduct in a public office and perversion of the course of justice. If a professional service, an independent investigator, not an internal pal like Darren, would seize the officer's notebooks, communication logs and training history and determine if it was a deliberate entrapment. Now, I have a recording of this and I've also got the police one from the SAR. Now, PC Plester was sat in a room and she's making indications, turning around, and it looks like she's talking to somebody else. Now, this isn't just I'm holding a telephone call and I haven't recorded it. This is a holding a telephone call with somebody else present in the room, whilst I as a person tell her actively that I am recording the phone call. I pause, I say, I'm going to record this phone call. It waits. The phone then actually says, this call is being recorded. At any point, she could have said, yeah, I'm actually recording this as well. She chose actively to sit there. That's not, oopsie, I made a mistake and I videoed somebody by mistake. She sets up the phone call she sets up the video prior to the phone call. She makes the phone call. She's told when she's being recorded. The phone says when she's being recorded. She sits there silent for another half second-ish when she has more than enough time to say, yes, this phone call is recorded from both parties, or I am also recording. It is a very simple test. She's the one that actually has to do it. I'm the one that can record if I want to. And now, every UK police officer has to go through Initial Police Learning Development Programme, IPLDP, the Police Constable Degree Apprenticeship. During training, they spend weeks explicitly drilled on PACE codes. You know the PACE codes that she's breached? Judges' rules of cautioning requirements. You know those rules that she breached? And also the disclosure obligations. She breached. She asked Sergeant Jones during the process of whilst I'm in the interview room in Blenheim Festiniog. He actively says, no, do not give it to him. It's overheard and it's also recorded. Guess which video SAR won't give to me, and guess where or what has happened to the so-called interview that they are literally interviewed and forget to turn it off, and their sergeant admits to refusing to give me disclosure, has gone missing and won't be allowed to come to me. We're chasing it. If PC Plester, through that training, still thought that she could secretly record a phone call and caution me without disclosure, an ongoing interview, then either the training is worthless or she is completely unfit to wear the uniform. Calling it inexperience after years on the job is a pathetic excuse to shield an officer who compromised a criminal case just to secure a quick charge. And I'm going to go back to this. Sergeant Jones, he bypassed CPS. Normally in this sort of situation, you would pass it to the CPS, they would look at what evidence you've got, then they would come up with the idea of, are we going to press forward or charge? Sergeant Arwin Jones from Blenheim Festiniog, he is online if you want to Google him, have a picture, have a look at him, check him out. He decided to bypass CPS, and as a sergeant that's already had a court form filed against him directly, and who's already emailed me to say he will not investigate any crime that I give to him based upon putting in a formal allegation and complaint against him. Now, how professional do you think it would be to put in a complaint against a police officer and then that police officer bypass CPS and chuck a charge directly against you, chucking you straight into court? So I was charged last year, and then I don't know quite what happens. I don't know if it sits on the record or not. Everything seems to sit on the record because every time I speak to a social worker, they bring up every single allegation any ex has ever made ever. So it seems to be living in the world of basically make an allegation against a guy and it will sit on his record forever, make an allegation against a female and the police will gatekeep and tell you that it's not allowed. Now, this is not me going on a specific rant. I want people to understand. I want guys to understand that when you get arrested, you probably, or maybe, or who knows, haven't actually done anything wrong. What you'll need to understand is that your kids are being sold to the system. The system consists of women make allegation, they will get free legal aid as a general. So domestic violence and other bits and pieces, you say get out of the house, or we get out of the house, or we try and move around, they will try and do coercive behaviour. Like, it comes down to anything as stupid as it can be. I've literally heard people getting legal aid for coercive behaviour because a vehicle had been sold nearly a year prior. So Range Rover was sold, and then she's put that down as coercive behaviour, even though there's text messages and evidence confirming that her new car is actually preferred. That's coercive behaviour. She gets legal aid and fully funded. I think 25,000-30,000 quid into legal aid she gets. During that process, the police would probably arrest you because you're the guy. They will seize phones, laptops, everything they want to do, because during the coercive behaviour, they'll also so-called want to check your text messages and do everything else. Seemingly, North Wales Police, if you make any actual criminal investigations and evidence crimes against this said woman, they won't then investigate her. They will just let it play out. So she will have legal aid during your family court case, and that's the only way that she can do it. What she does then is says that I've got nowhere to live because you're financially controlling her, because if you used to earn all the money before, then it's not there. She chose not to work. She was working, she was doing other bits, and at the time she even might be working, she just wants some more cash. She will then chuck you onto the child maintenance. The CMS will then actively chase you, and they can backdate. I've just had mine backdated. So my child maintenance, I think, kicked in 2024, 2025, and they're backdating and they're trying going through my financials 3 years prior to when she's now put in a claim to say that what I was earning back then, which was significantly more than when I decided not to bother working and I wanted to focus on my family and kids. The whole reason that this has happened, I think, is because it's gone from good money not saying that people are money diggers, but earning good money and being out on the road quite a lot, to wanting to actually realise that there's more to life than trying to earn hundreds of thousands of pounds, and actually just trying to settle down to taking the kids to school, picking them up, and actually just doing all the stuff that everyone takes as regret and just like forgetting is actually important. So basically, you'll get a complaint against you, she will get legal aid. Legal aid will then go through the process, she will then try and hold the kids. Longer she has the kids, more money she gets. So this is where the sale of the kids begins. Legal aid will be complaints. Sale of the kids is nights spent with her. So if she refuses to give you the kids, like if she was on 50-50, she gets less money. So the kids begin to get sold. They are now a bartering financial aid. More time they spend with her, more money she gets paid. More money she gets paid, the easier it is in life. And also more time that they spend with her, she says that she's homeless and she can go on an emergency homing list. If your kids are under 3, I think it is, then almost immediately she'll get given a house by the council. You'll get 2, 3, 4 bedroom house. When normal rental prices are £600, £700, £800, she'll get it for 300 or 400 quid. She'll probably get a load of money off her tax, a load of money off council tax, and setting up, I think she gets a set-up grant as well. So she steals the kids, she gets given a house, she gets a grant to set her up her house, she then puts you onto child maintenance, which means anything you earn, you'll get taxed on, then that money lands in your bank, then child maintenance will take that money, and they'll also take another 20%, and they're trying to get rid of direct pay as well. So even if you're, fundamentally talking to your ex, or she is actually just a normal person, not absolutely outright like mental, then it would be a lot easier just to say, look, here is a living allowance for the kids. Now I'm proposing to the government at the moment that if you have a living allowance as an adult, and you can say an average adult needs to earn this amount of money, it's called a living wage, then why is there not one for the kids? And why is it like a father that's earning 10 grand pays less than a father that's earning 100 grand? Surely if there's a baby as a baby, the living allowance and the living cost is exactly the same for each child. Just like if I'm a 25-year-old guy or a 35-year-old guy or a 45-year-old guy that doesn't have a job, my living costs fundamentally would be the same. So why is the government not doing it? And this is where it comes back to the government gets 20% of everything that you pay through child maintenance. They are actively encouraged to chase you. There's more enforcement officers and 0 enforcement officers for families that can't stick to their own court order. Now this is an absolute disgrace. This is Britain. This is the UK in 2026, where your own children are sold into a system. And the only way to keep those mothers out of financial ruin, because they decide to cheat, ruin it, leave, claim domestic violence, it's the only way they do it is by feeding themselves. There's so much lies and telling everyone else what's been going on is the only way they can actually live their own life. Now, if families were supported and kids had 50-50 rights to see both parents immediately, then it's there. So my court hearing, and you'll be hearing more about it, I've got another court hearing with Wales, Gorwell. I think the caseworker, I think I can say it, I won't say her name, but anyway, Gorwell did a victim aid, victim support form. They admit now it is completely incorrect. I have a video from my ex confirming that it's completely incorrect, and she even says, yeah, that's been falsified, and the person who wrote the report must have changed it. I think I signed it, and if I didn't sign it, then I just said it. They've actively changed a victim's statement to make it look like they're allowed to have legal aid. The certificate given for legal aid has now been entered into court, and nearly a year and a half of court later, a final hearing's been made. Cafcass have acknowledged we had a reliance on all documents, including that form, within the court bundle. Gorwell, the public body within Wales, and their professional, is what they called her, say that we took a statement and we acted professionally, and that should never have been entered into court. So which one is it? The Welsh Government goes around in circles, and there's so many departments that normally cover each other up. But actually, when you start diving deep And when you start chasing these people, you can start uncovering it. And what you find is changing your life forever. Now, I hope this sort of explains to some people what they're going to be going through. If you're a single guy, or you're just about to be splitting up, or you're finding that your partner's like pulling away and she's suggested splitting up and going through different bits, protect yourself. You will know that this is going to be going on. There will be arrests, because the only way she can actually get onto this loop of benefits is to cry wolf. You got to be looking at this. 85, nearly 90% of allegations are going through and arrests. And I think only 8, 9, 10% of those are actually having any sort of secondary action. However, all of these court hearings, as I say, up to 90% of court hearings are funneled through court on legal aid. And if only 10% of people are being prosecuted, then that's a significant amount of people that are getting free legal aid based upon allegations alone. Now, people are going to say the police can't prosecute if there's not enough evidence and blah, blah, blah. Okay. I'm going to put it out there, and this is maybe going to hurt all these women's groups. If I sold my partner's car, is that really worth 25 grand in legal aid? If I called my partner a bitch, does that stop my ability to parent my children when she's already moved out of the house a year ago? So why doesn't 50-50 just be normal? And if legal aid is there, why are they not pushing for the family, for the courts, for society, and for anything else, where if a parent wants to be 50-50, the other parent wants to be 50-50, why is one of them then having to pay for child maintenance? Because if you pick up a kid 50-50, that is 50-50. Block the financial gains, block the financial rewards, give each parent the ability to 50-50, and society moves on. No payments, no financial control, no coercive control, none of these, oh, you're a deadbeat dad, you don't pay child maintenance. You're a deadbeat mum for not sharing any access to the kid and trying to take money over access to your own child. Just think this through. Take this on board, and there's going to be more videos. North Wales Police, you are a corrupt syndicate. Darren Groom covering up absolute shocking policing. PC Plester can't do your job properly. Your own inspector says you're incompetent, says you don't know how to do your job and you haven't had proper training. Sergeant Jones, you blocked disclosure, and that PC Plester was under your control. As far as I'm concerned, as a manager of a business, if my staff don't do my job properly and I've given them what they have to do, when there's a problem and they act illegally, that comes back to me as the business owner. Why are you not taking any, put your hands up, say I screwed up and leave your job? PC Kevin Williams, you posted bail terms at an address not even listed on your own system. Not once, not twice, but you even turned up a third time without bail in your car on a bank holiday past 10, 11 o'clock at night. You arrested a journalist. You came into his house without a warrant. Katie Jones, you filled in bail term notes with yourself as a suspect nearly a week prior to your inspector signing it off and giving you authorization. Paul Folks, professional standards, wrote letters addressed to number 14 when my house is number 41 about data protection issues and questions to the fact that people are posting letters at the wrong address. This goes on and on. 2 police officers I have formally on record, one via a SAR and the police notes, and one via an email directly to me, confirming that they will not act as police officers for me. They will not investigate crime. When I call up and report crimes of the police officers not doing their jobs properly, I'm promised a phone call, I'm promised crime reference numbers, I'm not getting it. When the police search my house and they take away stuff that shouldn't have been taken away, they leave no receipt, they leave no bits, but yet they're on CCTV holding the item as they leave, I'm asking for a crime reference number so that I can get my insurance company to chase you. You won't give me a crime reference number, so I'm stuck in limbo again. I go to the courts and they tell me that they can't investigate crime. I go to the Solicitors Regulation Authority. They tell me that if allegations made about misfiling an HR1, which cost me several £100,000 now in documented costs, they tell me that that is not an investigation body and I need to contact the police. The police have put down going through multiple systems with passwords, uploading incorrect information, downloading stuff, having signatures on it is a clerical error. Land Registry confirmed that clerical error is fraud, because it would be impossible, quote unquote, impossible to get through to where they did and to file the incorrect informations. And even if they did manage to get that far, it's still a criminal offence. So we should be in court right now, allowing a judge to hear my evidence, Land Registry's evidence, and a full-on informal investigation. Guys, this is the world of father's rights. You have almost zero. The only right you have is to keep ramming this stuff into court harder and harder. They will keep throwing it out and they will do hard strike-offs and they will say there is no reason to be answering these questions. It is your duty to pay for that N244 form, give the evidence and chuck it back into court. You have to sue the authorities. You have to sue your ex. Any form that you're finding that is incorrect, that is lying and is having other issues, that you can document and evidence, and anything that's actually coming along and having hardcore problems that's costing you money, put it into small claims court and sue these people. If it's your ex, if it's an authority, if it's a police officer, sue them all, because the only way to change the right that you have for yourself and for your children growing up will be to change the gravy train. The money needs to start sliding out of these people and they must be held accountable. I'm not having this. Now, please do what you need to do. I hope that somebody's taken this on board and seen that they might be going through the same stuff and thinking, what have I done wrong? And just completely lost their mind. Take it on board. I'm not the only one. You're not the only one. You will be arrested. You will be chased, you will be hounded, and everything will come back. They will be chasing you because they have to get a charge against you so that they can take away their kids, so that the CMS can take away your money, so that the government can earn more. The whole process is to take money from you. It's as simple as that. Bosh.